What does Conor McGregor want to do? Who does he really want to fight? And Michael Chandler said something today. This was great. This was great. Because Chandler's been put in a colossally hard position. I challenge and push back on Chandler's decision to wait and to be dictated to the way that he's waited and the way that he's been dictated to by Conor McGregor. I mean, Chandler is sitting already what a guy would sit who's on an ACL injury. And it looks like there's a little light at the end of the tunnel, but it's just a little light and it's a long tunnel. And I question Chandler constantly, but my hypocrisy knows no bounds, because if Chandler called me and I were to advise him, I would tell him to stay the course. If I were in Chandler's shoes and I had to make a personal decision, I would do what Chandler is doing. But Chandler came out today and it was a very simple line. He set it down and walked away. It's amongst the best things that he's done. He said, Conor's trying to wait me out, and I'm not going to let him. That was it. And I loved it. It was simple, and it was accurate. And now I understand, we're in a game here. We're in a game of patience. We're in a game of chicken. We're in a game of blink. Those I understand. Been in a few of those myself. The public understands. It doesn't matter if it's a guy with a PhD watching it or it's a guy down working at the Quick Mart. It doesn't matter. We've all been in those little games of chicken where I'm going to get my way. I have one promise given to me by the UFC, which is I am your next fight. I'm going to use that. You wait as long as you want. You're going to retire me? You just might. I'm going to retire you back. That is something that we all understand, right? We have all cut off our nose to spite our face for principle. We've done it before. And I like that Chandler said it because now I get it. Or at least I get it to a different degree. And Conor does have a code. Conor's not going to blink. He's not going to back down from Chandler. Now, I'm not positive he's most interested in Chandler. I'm not convinced of that. But there isn't a scenario where the UFC is going to want him to fight Chandler and Conor's going to come out and go in a different direction, or Conor's going to say no. Or he's going to say, I've lost interest and I'm now going over. He just won't do it. It could be a harder fight. It could be an easier fight. It could be a bigger fight. It could be a smaller fight. Conor's code won't allow him to do that. So if he doesn't want to fight Chandler, and it's not the old school, you guys, he's scared. It's not those things. He has a bigger interest in something else. If that's true, he's still not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to get himself to do it. So when Chandler's saying he's trying to wait me out, I think that Chandler makes a fair point. I don't think Conor's ever verbalized it to anybody, but I do think that he wants to do something else, and I don't know what that would be. I don't know. There appears to be something very big out there with Nate Diaz, in my opinion. And I've heard of the talks for UFC 300. I've heard of the talks of the return. I mean, the crazy talk. There's one right now that Ronda Rousey's got $15 million on the table to fight Miesha Tate. That is fiction. That did not happen. But then I'm hearing the talks of GSP coming back. That is fiction. I'm hearing the talks of Nate coming back. Now, that is easily the most realistic of them. The issue is right in front of everybody, and they're choosing to not see. When you hear those kinds of talks, it is the exact same scenario that Conor just went through with USADA and the 6 months. It is the exact same, to a T. And that seems to be the part that so many people are missing. Because of what went through with Conor and USADA, all the way down to a breakup, which is likely to result in a removal by the board of Travis Taggart. I mean, it's a very big deal the way this whole thing came down. You can't just bring somebody else in, have them go in that exact same scenario and not do the 6 months, and do the pool. And as soon as they attempted to do that, you people, the very people that are saying, bring us Nate, bring us Ronda, bring us George, the moment it's done are going to come back and point that gun just for dramatic reasons, just for no other goddamn reason than to be a pain. So, I don't know that Conor's aware of that. I don't believe Conor is a sandhagen. I believe he is the opposite. I believe the same way as we can use sandhagen as a verb to describe somebody that doesn't follow the very sport that they're in and doesn't know their own division, I think you could apply Conor for somebody who's an absolute expert in the divisions, the rankings, and the system. I'm just not convinced that Conor has enough information to fully decide what it is that he wants to do. And when guys get near the end, only they know. They will not reveal that. Not the smart ones. You'll have guys that say, my next fight is my last fight. If you ever say my next fight is my last fight, you had better already have the fight signed. Because if you do not have it signed, you are not going to like the opponent and you're not going to like the card placement. But when you have a sandhagen, they haven't figured that out yet. Conor most certainly has. But when you're nearing the end, your motivations will change. How badly do I want parity? How badly do I want a rematch? How badly do I want to cut down to 155 pounds? When I tell you that Conor doesn't have enough information, I don't think like the mystery weight class of where these guys are going to compete is only a mystery to us. I don't think that they've worked that out. So it's relevant, though, if I'm right? When I ask you, who does Conor really want to fight? When Chandler says he's trying to wait me out, he's trying to wait me out so that he can go on and do something else. For whatever reason, I'm not convinced that Conor has enough information. He might have a different opponent in mind if he needs to go down to 155, as opposed to if he can do it at a catch weight of 175, which is very Conor-esque. To do it at 170 would not be Conor-esque. To do it at a catch weight that doesn't exist and nobody else could get a main event at, and he's going to make them do it special for him, that is on brand for McGregor. And I do believe there is light at the end of this tunnel. I think the tunnel's a little bit long. I think the light's a little bit dim, but I think that's changing. And I am starting to get excited for that match. And my anticipation was growing stale, not because I don't love to see Chandler. Chandler might be my favorite fighter. Not because I don't like to see him fight. It's just that one's been promised and it's been out there, and it's very hard to get it up when you know you're coming down. When you get it up and it comes back down, pretty soon you just refuse to get it up. It's one of those things. And this one has definitely messed with our emotions until Chandler said why he's waiting. He's not going to blink. He is in a game of chicken. He's in a game of stubbornness. You might retire me, but I will retire you right back. You got a whole bunch of power, but I got a promise. I believe in your power, but I also believe in my promise, which is your next match is with me unless I take something first. It really changed things for me to hear Chandler explain why he isn't moving on. And there's just not a piece of Conor's code, no matter how much he would like to move, just to stick it to Chandler, just to show him that he can. It's not within his code. It could be harder, it could be easier, it could be dangerous, it could be safer, it could be this way, that way, or in between. Once it's set, Conor won't be the one to change it. So now, as we did for all of 2023, we just need to wait.